boys and girls, Creoles, okay, primary Sue, see my DVD tours, Christmas, doing that term, OverExposedKaiju, and today we are back on the Reaction channel, doing more Tomska. This time we're doing Tugs. It's basically like a continuation to his Thomas the Tank Engine video we reacted to. So, yeah. I believe it's actually in the same universe as Thomas the Tank Engine. I could be wrong, though. But yeah, it's basically another, like... This is Tomska doing Tomska things with Thomas the Tank Engine-esque content, like this. But before we get started, if you enjoyed the content and commentary, do me a favor to like and subscribe button. It goes a long way to help the channel grow. Make sure you check out Tomska. I'll put the link to his channel and his Tomska and Friends channel in the cards below. And make sure you check out this video we're reacting to. I'll put the link to this video in the cards below also. And if you want exclusive Patreon or if you want exclusive reactions for reactions and stuff that can't be posted on YouTube, like TV shows and anime reactions and movie reactions, I'm currently working on getting a bunch of some films. We'll get them uploaded here in the next couple of weeks. So if you want that and plus full perks, go check out the Patreon. I'll put a link to it in the cards below, and also put a link to it in the comment section if you want to go check out the Patreon. Ultimately, I make on Patreon because we're investing back into the channel. Anyways, let's get into it.
Okay, fine. I'll do a video on Tugs. What is Tugs? Tugs.com. Oh,
that's porn.
This is handjob porn. So I'm just gonna assume that by Tugs you mean this show about talking boats that looks suspiciously like that other show about talking trains. But maybe this one won't be full of death, destruction, and nightmarish implications.
Yeah. Oh. I'm gonna guess it was exactly the same. Just
not again.
Death, slavery, and
is Tugs.
So,
genocide.
Tugs. What is it? It's the late 1980s and we're slap dab in the middle of the 5-year gap between Thomas and Friends Season 2 and Season 3, and crewmates Robert D. Cardona and David Mitton have said, yeah, well, I'm gonna go make my own talking vehicle show.
With blackjack and hookers!
Or was it boats? Set in 1920s America in the harbor of Big City, we meet Starfleet. Not that one. This one.
I said silence.
We've got 10 Cents, our plucky everyman.
Right, Captain Star.
Who also makes up 1/5 of 50 Cent. That's not a good joke. There's Sunshine, who somehow manages to whistle through one tooth.
Ali.
It's very annoying. Top Hat, who definitely votes Tory.
I resent that.
Warrior, who would later go on to become Yellow Guy and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
Oh.
Me? I won't have no accidents. Promise.
Wow. What a twist.
Big Mac, who is a burger.
Sir.
I'm killing it. OJ, who definitely did it. And Hercules, who definitely fucks.
I know. I really hate to disappoint the Duchess.
There's Lily Lighthouse, who also fucks Hercules, specifically.
Nice to be appreciated, boys.
Billy Shupak, the inbred.
Lovely big back.
How do they fuck? They're boats. They don't even have genitalia. They don't have the puh in the puh. You know what I mean? They don't have the they don't have the weenus in the puh. If you catch my drift. I'm talking about penises and vaginas.
Izzy Gomez, the hate crime.
Ay, caramba. What do you know about it, you South American eater of junk?
What the fuck? Yeah.
And Krampus,
Oh
the
shit.
squirter.
Oh.
Follow me.
Who's gonna follow you, Grampus?
Fucking Aquaman!
Lastly, we've got our mobster-inspired, not that really bad guys, the Z-Stacks, featuring Zoran.
My name's not Zoran.
Waluigi's illegitimate love boat child.
Oh, what?
And Zip, Zack, Zug, and Zebedee, who are also there.
Gangsters?
So, what do all
They're
these
boat
wild
mafia?
and wacky boats get up to? Well, mostly compete to secure job contracts.
Oh.
It looks like I've managed to land the ocean liner contract.
No, really, this show ran for 13 episodes, and yet they somehow say the word contract 37 exciting times.
Contract, 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 contract.
It's kind of like how the Phantom Menace kicks off with that enthralling line about the taxation of trade routes.
Wow! I love labor disputes.
Shut up, son.
But in all seriousness, Tugs is a somewhat charming show about boats, boating about the place, getting into situations about as wacky as boats can get into. And also one time they meet God. Also, the theme tune has this sultry little sax riff. Ooh. If I wanted to end the video right here, I'd say that Tugs is fine. It's clear that a lot of love, skill, and passion was put into it before the franchise holder went bust and the show got axed, but I can also see why it was so short-lived and soon forgotten, being as comparatively dark and dreary as it is.
I saw something.
Falling just short of the same timeless charm and whimsy of something like Thomas and Friends. But it also meant a lot to a lot of people, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, and I would never want to take that away from anyone. But I'm not going to end the video here, because I have questions. Questions that, quite frankly, need answers. Questions like, where are all the humans? Are the boats slaves? Do they have love?
These are the questions I want to know. Where the fuck are all the people at? Are they slaves? How do they have sex? They are boats! My point still stands. They are boats. They can't have sex. Boat porn.
Can they die? Do they fuck? And what?
Do they fuck? God, you see, Tomska, you and me are on the same wavelength over here, man. We're asking the important question nobody else wants to ask.
Why does this keep happening every time I hear the first note of the credits song? Stop that! And now, a word from our sponsor.
That's some funny shit.
Chapter 1. Are the boats alive? So before I can begin overanalyzing yet another kid show like the underachieving burnout that I am, we first need to establish the rules of its universe, as they clearly differ from ours, because I don't know if you've noticed this, but boats don't normally have faces.
Yeah.
Even Bodie McBoatface doesn't have a face.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Bodie
letdown.
McBoatface is a sub? Kinky. A lot of things are sentient in the world of Tugs. There's the face-having boats, of course, but also planes, smash. Crane grapples, smash. And boys, smash. Look, the little bellboy is a bellboy.
Sorry, little fella.
That's adorable. But also, it's kind of fucked up that when this one sinks, they just replace him with a new one.
You better go fetch another marker, boy.
Fuck that guy, I guess.
He's dead now.
But not all boats and vehicles have faces.
How Tomska, Thomas, how do you smash them when there's nothing to smash?
Though, and it's genuinely unclear if they're.
Remember me like on what was on TLC, Mushroom Addictions, the guy who fucks his own car. Should I start doing some of those? Should I do reactions to some TLC shows? Because there are a lot of like weird shows out there on TLC. Should I do them? Like, should I do some reactions to some TLC stuff? That'd be interesting.
Even alive. A lot of the larger ships we meet are completely silent and seemingly unsentient. So, are they dead? Have they just not been granted the curse of life? Or is it a City of Truro situation where we, the audience, just don't get to hear them? Maybe because they're shy or deeply racist. What makes this weird, though, is that throughout the show, the Tugs are in constant awe of these larger ships, holding them in extreme reverence. In the episode Regatta, they even put on a...
Are they like cruise liners? So are they kind of like seen as like higher class or like a higher rank because they're like cruise liners? Like they're kind of seen as like celebrities or whatever. Like the celebrities are like have high power and that type of stuff. I'm not sure how that would work.
Whole ass parade for the Princess Alice. So are they their gods? Would that make the sinking of the Titanic kind of like their 9/11? However,
That's
it's
fucked
worth
up,
noting that
Tom.
Princess Alice never actually responds.
You make Thomas, Tomska, buddy, homie, my guy. Do you just make a joke using two tragedies in the same joke with the sinking of Titanic and 9/11? Buddy, homie, my guy. I respect you as a comedian. I respect you as a content creator. You're one of the greatest of all time to do it. But I don't think you're allowed to make that might be going a bit far, my guy. You use the sinking of the Titanic in 9/11 in the same joke. That's like 4D satire dimensional chest joke right there.
To the Tugs parade, and it's just some unseen human on board that says,
The Princess Alice considers this to be the best year yet.
what's that about? Best case scenario.
Is she like the queen? Like, is that big ship like seen as like the queen or something like that for them, or like their empress, something like that? Because like that kind of give the vibes like, oh, the queen says this would be a great year. It's kind of give me the vibe of.
The Princess Alice considers this
Oh, so it's a princess. Okay, so they see her as a princess. Okay.
to be the best year yet.
What's that about? Best case scenario, the ocean liners are simply on a higher plane of consciousness than the Tugs. Worst case scenario, though, it's kind of a Goofy and Pluto situation where they're both the same species, but the ocean liners are, you know, a few lumps of coal short of a full boiler. But most likely, the ocean liners are just regular boats with no sentience. But that begs the question then, what are the Tugs? Unlike in Thomas and Friends, there's no implication that our main characters have any human beings on board. They genuinely seem to be fully autonomous, piloting themselves, but also performing all of their tuggy duties.
Jeez. Jesus, Tom. Tuggy duties. Oh, man.
Tuggy duties. Oh no. But also performing all of their duties completely independent of human interaction. Speaking of which, where are all the humans?
That's what I want to know.
In ways, it seems the world of Tugs is very
Was there like
down to the casual racism.
there,
we even know that we share a history.
Was there like an
in the
extinction
episode
event?
Quarantine, they reference surf.
Is this in the same unit? Like, is this its own separate universe, or is this technically considered the same universe as Thomas the Tank Engine universe? I want to know. Like, do they count this? Do they consider Tugs to be within the same universe? Because like he said that some of the production team from Thomas the Tank Engine produced the Tugs series. So like, did they consider Tugs to be canonically in the same universe as Thomas and Friends, or is this like its own separate thing?
Francis Drake.
I do believe they see themselves as Sir Francis Drake.
Meaning that slavery happened. Oh god, I hope the slave ship didn't also have a face. But the two major differences between our realities are that
the slave ship have a face. Oh my god, holy shit. That's wow. You know what? Same. I hope the slave ship did not have a face.
one, yes, some vehicles can indeed talk, but also two, the humans all seem to be hiding from them. In Thomas and Friends, we see humans all over the place, sometimes even deep inside the engines.
Oh.
Ooh. But in Tugs, humans are seemingly exclusively represented as megaphones sticking out of windows, like Captain Star, who sounds suspiciously like the Live at the Apollo announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack D.
We see the little human megaphones coming from the shrimpers in Ghosts, the trawler in Quarantine, and all of the cranes. And we know these aren't just sentient buildings and vehicles, because in the episode Pirate, Captain Zero visits Captain Star at his office, presumably for a little kiss. Ooh. And they're both...
The fuck? There's some, like... Hold on. Is this like one of those situations where the cute office, or the office lady, goes and goes under the boss's desk for to hang out or to have a meeting? Oh shit, you can't use my finger. You guys can't see my finger quotes. I need to get the hand checking thing going here soon. I want to get the hand checking stuff going, but you know, I'm using fair quotes. Going to go hang out with the boss, or going to go have a meeting in the boss's office, and then all of a sudden you find out later on she got like a $5 raise, or she's next in line for a promotion. You know I'm like the nudge, wink, wink, like like the slight office sexual harassment, friends with benefits. jerking the boss is gherkin to get $5 extra on your paycheck every week. Get that $5 raise. Get that promotion. Promotion to the office slot. To the manager's assistant slot. Assistant. Sorry. The manager's assistant.
Now seen speaking from the same building. God, this is such a waste of my time.
Hey, what the?
However, it's not clear if the Tugs are aware they're even speaking to humans, or even if they know what humans are. There's a train that Warrior calls a good friend that they all address as Puffer, which definitely sounds more like a train sonar than a human name, but sure enough, whenever it responds, it's a human speaking out of a megaphone. Stupid Tugs! Don't they know that trains can't talk?
Hi there, Big Mac.
But why don't the Tugs seem to realize they're talking to humans? Is that by design? Are the humans hiding from them behind tinted glass, desperately trying to convince them that they too are sentient vehicles? Why? What is the reason? I used to be in Mensa! There's genuinely only one living flesh and blood life form we see in this show, and it's this seagull. Are they the dominant species here? What do they want? I want chippies! Trivia time! Multiple props from Tugs were repurposed and used for Thomas and Friends.
Oh.
And by repurposed, I of course mean their faces were ripped off and their lifeless corpses can be seen floating around the docks of Sodor. Speaking of Sodor, when
So, they are in Steam Universe, right? Yes.
I made my video on Thomas and Friends earlier this year, the mere suggestion that the engines were anything less than free and willing participants in their own labor efforts was met with a pretty intense outrage, and I got dangerously close to making a whole second video all about the definition of slavery. And since I'm here, chapter 2.
Dude, I want to see Tomska. If you actually did make that video, please release it. I want to see. I want to see the train slavery debate videos. I think it'd be hilarious.
Are the boats slaves? The Tugs universe operates very similarly to that of Thomas and Friends in that all of the boats seemingly have owners. Captain Star, for example, owns all of Starfleet.
I don't like that. I don't like the fact that we own them. It's kind of, it feels weird, especially like you say pets too, right? Because I guess you could probably say the same thing like, oh, so are pets slaves too because you owned pets? But I mean, like, I don't know, like I feel like if you want to, you could just like, if you have a parrot dog, if you have a carrot dog, you can like let them go, you like let them out and be like, all right. If you don't want to be here, you can just leave. But then, yeah, and then you're, like he's, and then they come back because they want food, and because it's cold outside, or it's hot outside, or there's loud vehicles that drive by them, and you already smoked them in the road multiple times. I'm speaking from experience.
Tugs.
And we know that the ships have owners because in the episode Jinxed, everyone is very scandalized when they meet Boomer, who is owner-free.
Have you always been like this?
Similarly, in the episode Regatta, Grampus is owned by the Navy until he is sold to Captain Star.
The Navy sold me to Captain Star.
Kinda like property. And in the episode Quarantine, Captain Star almost sells OJ and threatens to sell 10 Cents and Sunshine
OJ Simpson?
to Scrappers, which is a kind of a big yikes that we will definitely be coming back to.
He wouldn't really sell us for scrap, would he?
No.
Not to get all baby's first video essay.
I would not be surprised if I found out that that OJ, the boat character in this, was actually voiced by OJ Simpson. I'm pretty sure like in 1989, I think he said, because like OJ Simpson was still like a respectable like Hall of Fame running back and like a celebrity. OJ Simpson. Yeah, because OJ. Because the events of like because like the murder of like OJ, okay, no, quote unquote murder, you know, I mean his what's the word, allegedly murder of Nicole and Ronald Goldman and like, you know, his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson. Like that happened like what 1994, 1989. So yeah, like OJ Simpson was still like back when this was produced, he was still like a respectable celebrity in like Hall of Fame or I guess future Hall of Fame. Running back. Like I would not be surprised if they actually got like, OJ Simpson to voice OJ for the series. I don't think he did though. But I think it would be kind of ironic, kind of funny if they actually did.
But a slave is defined as someone forbidden to quit their service for an enslaver, and who is treated by the enslaver as their property. Slavery typically involves the enslaved person being made to perform some form of work while also having their location or residence dictated by the enslaver. Similarly, forced labor is when an individual is forced to work against their own will under the threat of violence or another punishment, and their ability to work productively is under the complete control of another person.
Sounds like flavor to me.
I got those definitions on Wikipedia, okay? What about it? This isn't bread tube, but this is a bread tube. That's pretty good. I'm so sorry.
What
One thing
the
that
fuck was that,
separates Tugs
Tomska?
from Thomas and Friends is that the boats do seem to get paid. In Regatta, Zoran says,
There'll be daylight robbery out of your pay packets.
and in Munitions,
Pay
Top Hat
packets?
says,
Do I have to earn a living with this motley crew?
this all begs the question, what do they need money for? What do they do with it? Do they pay for their own repairs? Well, seemingly not, because in quarantine, OJ says he needs Captain Star to replace his engines.
I need a new one.
I have to assume they either get paid in scrip, an exploitative alternative to legal tender, or worse, they're paying off some sort of life debt to earn their freedom.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a kid show about talking boats. What am I doing with my life? Either way, they are treated as legal property and forbidden to quit, escape, or stop working under the explicit threat of scrapping or reselling, and that, my friends, sounds an awful lot like slavery. Boom. Fun trivia time! The 13 episodes of Tugs would later be cut up, rewritten, redubbed, and somehow stretched across 40 episodes of the American kids show
What the hell?
Salty's Lighthouse. The following footage is genuinely unedited.
Oh, there's liners and barges and garbage to tow. Gonna blow the old horn, just like so. Tugs are working, they never go slow. Give the boat a minute and blow, man, blow.
Chapter 3.
What
Do
the
boats
hell?
have sex? So the boats definitely fuck, and I can prove it without
Oh god. Alright. Oh, because we're gonna see how boat fucking happens.
even mentioning this.
Nasty hole, Lily.
Or this.
What the nasty hole? Is that actually in the show? Is Nice Hole Lily actually in the show? No, bro. There's no way. It's supposed to be a kids show, right? There's no way they'd put that in a kids. Well, I guess. You know, never mind. I say that they wouldn't put that in a kids show, but then you look at some of the other fucked up adult jokes stuff that are in kids shows. Especially like back in like 1980s, like in like in like 1870s, 1860s. Like there's some fucked up jokes in those quote unquote kids shows. Like look at Bugs Bunny. They like actually they actually like shoot people in Bugs Bunny. And they have like falling anvils and all kinds of like dark and messed up jokes in those.
Fuck, and I can prove it without even mentioning this.
Nasty hole, Lily.
Or
Jesus.
this. Or this.
Oh, I'm alright.
Oh, that's so gross. Aren't you glad I didn't mention it?
Oh, I'm really jammy.
First of all, the sexual tension between Hercules and Lily Lightboat is unreal. You're gonna tell me this Errol Flynn Clark Gable son of a bitch isn't regularly docking his court nozzle in Lily Lightboat's port side? Please.
Oh my god.
These two are seen bumping hulls together way too often for this to be platonic. And in the original script for the episode Regatta, Lily actively calls Hercules delicious.
What the
These
fuck?
boats are fucking... I'm actually shipping the ships.
Oh
what am
my
I
God.
doing? But even more conclusively, in the episode Pirate, we meet Sea Rogue, who is trying to save his uncle.
Don't do it!
Not a boat called Uncle, but his uncle, which means he has boat parents that have boat siblings. Now, in Thomas and Friends, siblings are a thing. Trains that are made in the same factory or of the same type are often referred to as brothers.
Donald and Douglas are twins.
But again, to have a boat uncle, you have to have boat parents, which means the boats breed. The boats fuck. Krampus is submersed and breedable. I
Jesus.
used to have potential. Fun trivia time. Hey, did you know they kept live goldfish in the giant water tanks they filmed in? How cute.
Oh,
that was until
cool.
the dye and general toxicity of their environment finished them off.
Oh.
Speaking of death, chapter 4, can we kill the boats? Please? Do you know how much Thomas and Friends I had to watch to catch even the smallest hints at death? So much. Tugs, however, whoo baby, they cannot get enough of the stuff.
Big Mickey!
Once again, Tugs operates very similarly to Thomas and Friends in that boats that are no longer useful get scrapped,
Makes
ripped
sense.
apart, and melted down. In the episode Trapped, Zug is tugging a rusty old...
Or it's how their body parts spew across the island. That's what it's hard to do with the Thomas and trains. Like, they would scrap them and throw their body parts all over the fucking island. And then, I guess whoever's left, maybe it's like a reminder, but like, this could be you. You see this shell of a former train? This could be you if you don't work hard enough. And then they have like their wheels and shit. It's like thrown all over the fucking island of like dead trains. Probably happened here. Probably sink them. Isn't that what the Navy does? Like after for certain posts that they've used for like decades or whatever. Like there was like they retire the boats and then they like bring them out like, to a certain like part of the ocean, like near like America or whatever. And then they like bomb it or whatever and sink it and make it turn into like a coral reef. I thought I heard something like that. That the Navy does that quite often, instead of like just scrapping. Because like they do scrap boats. Like they'll take parts from like old boats and then they'll like put them in and then like, they use it to replace parts on current boats. But I've also heard that for like a lot of older boats, they'll just or like after they retire them, they'll either they'll like make them to museums or they'll like they'll basically turn them into museums. B, they'll scrap them or put them in storage and use them for parts. Or C, they'll like basically just bomb and or like torpedo them or whatever, test out new equipment and then have them sink and then they would turn to like coral reefs, basically.
Boat to the breaker's yard to get, and in quarantine we meet Burke and Blair, two scrap dealer boats who want to buy the tugs so they can sell them for parts, which I guess in this context would be their organs. I wonder if those are in any way related to the real life serial killers Burke and Hare, who would sell their victims' bodies for medical stuff.
Oh yeah, we've heard about oh yeah. Then I can't remember if like yeah, like weren't they gravediggers? I believe I think we did I can't remember if we've done and I uploaded it yet. But we did like a video on like serial killers. I do not know if I don't know if I edited and uploaded it yet. I have to check in. But basically these two they were like there and they would like harvest like freshly like dead people. They'll go to like the graveyard and they would like unbury them and then they'll like sell them to scientists for cash. These are actually two like the main reasons why a lot of times and like even sometimes today, why a lot of graves have like security nowadays. Like or like a lot of like or like caskets have like the casket guns. I have no idea if those are still legal today, but like in like the late 1800s, early 1900s, they started using like casket guns. So if you open up the lid the wrong way, it would have like a gun that like fire and like, shoot you in the face or whatever, the perpetrator in the face or whatever, or like wound them or whatever. Like the whole reason people started doing that is because like these two are some of the, like two of the biggest people who are doing it. So he started like using like putting a cast of guns and that type of stuff. The William and William, Harry and Burke. Like, yeah, like these two like known to be some of the biggest like grave digger, like the biggest like grave thieves and body snatch. I'm not I guess body snatchers, but not the body snatchers like the body snatchers like cryptids, but body snatchers like they stole the bodies and like profit off of them. Like bruh.
Study. Probably just a coincidence, right? This is a show about talking boats for children. Much like Thomas and Friends, we know that the vehicles breathe and assumedly have lungs. Whenever Krampus resurfaces, he spits out water. In Upriver, Sunshine inhales smoke and begins coughing, so I guess they can drown and burn to death.
And have sex.
News. And in Quarantine, Zoran is forced to self-isolate after being potentially exposed to the airborne
microbonic plague aboard.
Now, I don't know about you, but that all seems like lung-having behavior to me. Furthermore, sinking, and logically therefore drowning, seems to be a genuine fear for these boats. Sunshine and Lily are scared of sinking.
I'm sinking, Grandpa, sinking. Please help me, please.
Uncle is threatened by crime boats, which exist, with a trip to Davy Jones' locker on the seabed, the fabled resting place of those who die at sea. And Zebedee, in another episode with other crime boats, is threatened with having his hull filled with cement and sunk.
Or you'll find yourself at the bottom of the harbour with cement in your hull.
They can't hold Johnny.
That's like mafia behavior right there. That's like the cement shoes mafia. Right there.
The authorities did hold Johnny Cuba.
Also, we know that sinking kills the boats because in the episode Ghost, the Tugs are afraid they're being haunted by the spirits of ships that sunk during the Great Storm of 1912.
Oh,
so
geez.
Not only are they aware of death and their own mortality, but they also grapple with concepts of souls and the afterlife. Funny boat show for children. Now, admittedly, the Fulton Ferry sinks and is resurfaced without harm in Quarantine, but again, I'm not super convinced that that boat was ever alive to begin with. Now, not all of our maritime friends share the same fear of death or will to live. Grampus, while a little disappointed, is surprisingly chill when the Navy grant him his retirement in the form of being blown up for target practice.
Oh, damn.
Although, no joke, that is how I would like to go. I suppose ideally I'd like to be dead first, but just wheel me out to a bomb testing range and let her rip. Bye-bye. Also, in Jinxed, we meet Boomer, who explicitly wants to be left to sink and presumably die.
I'm sinking. Just what I wanted.
Okay, Boomer.
So, great news, the boats can also have severe depression. Luckily, Boomer does finally find his will to live when he's converted into a
strange-looking floating house.
And docks next to a sign reading, "Done tuggin'." So I guess you could say, Boomer got a happy ending.
I guess so.
Also, I'm not sure, but I think there's a possibility that the boats can die of old age. The faces and mannerisms of older boats like OJ, Old Rusty, and Uncle do seem to indicate that they
are
age
aging
in a conventional manner, so maybe the faceless boats are they're just dead. But overall, the boats seem to take a fairly indifferent approach to death. In Regatta, when a tramp steamer crashes and promptly sinks, no one even finds it worth mentioning. In Warrior, we get a brief glimpse of Old Rusty, who has been moored for years and is seemingly just waiting to get scrapped, but at least he seems to be at peace with it.
I've been anchored over here for 2 years.
And in Trapped, when a rusty old boat gets ever-givened, they just blow it up. Me when my werewolf boyfriend pulls out.
Jesus. After my werewolf boyfriend pulls out, you're what?
And don't even get me started on munitions. A tramper explodes, Big Mickey drowns, 10 Cents explodes.
Blows a smithereen.
And all the characters just react like, what a day.
Yeah, you're the luckiest tug around, lad.
Have some empathy, people. So to recap, the boats can die of drowning, disease, dismemberment, smoke inhalation, and old age. And if all of those fail to get you, there's also a decent chance that you might just explode, because Big City Harbor seems to be about as full of explosives as it is of water.
Yeah, why the fuck is everything exploding?
To see the quaysides undamaged.
There's more explosion in this show than the fucking Terminator series. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Fun trivia time! The episode Big Freeze was released on June 27th, 1989, exactly 1 year before I was born, and exactly 145 years after Mormonism founder Joseph Smith was shot repeatedly, fell out of a window, died, and then was shot some more. Chapter 5. The horrifying truth. Now, so far we've learned a lot of fun stuff about the world of Tugs, its quirks and eccentricities, but it's time to get serious.
Okay.
Deadly serious.
Alright, I'm listening.
Because all of my research has seemingly been leading me somewhere, towards a conclusion that I didn't want to be true, but when presented with this much evidence, I can deny no longer. The dark, terrifying truth of Tugs.
I want to know. Tell me, Master
ready?
Tom. Yes.
The boats are an accursed telekinetic species created by a vengeful god to kill humans on sight. Don't believe me? Fact 1. Neptune, god of the sea, exists in this universe. And in the 1920s, we're hot off the heels of both the Industrial Revolution and the start of offshore drilling.
And World War
I don't know about you, but if I were a sea god and all of a sudden...
Like, World War I just ended. 1920. Like, yeah, it's like you just got over World War I. The Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution had been going around. It was happening for a couple decades. For the 1920s. I believe the Industrial Revolution actually started as early as like 1840s in the British Empire. If memory serves correctly.
My domain started falling victim to mass plundering and pollution, I'd probably want some retribution too. Maybe by, I don't know, unleashing plagues? But why stop there? You're a god. Why not also fuck with the human world by turning our own tools against us?
Makes sense.
And having anything that...
If I was a god, I'd probably turn my... If I was a god, I would also turn the tools of humans against them. I think it'd be pretty funny.
Touches the water come to life. And hey, why not also give those boats magical powers and an insatiable bloodlust? Fact 2, the boats have telekinesis and maybe even pyrokinesis. We already know that they have no humans on board and therefore operate fully autonomously. But how else can we explain all the other shit they get up to? They throw ropes, they throw blankets, they tie knots, they light dynamite. Yes.
Why is there so many why? I'm still confused. Why is there so much dynamite and explosions everywhere on this little dock harbor?
Strength seems to be limited to that of an average human being, but that's all it would take to pull you under the water as you stare up at them in their gigantic glaring faces. Also, I'm pretty sure they shoot a lighthouse keeper at one point.
The fuck?
Fact 3, the humans understandably live in fear. They hide behind tinted windows and roleplay as vehicles to avoid detection from these lethal, albeit gullible, murder machines. But Tom, I hear you ask, why would they put themselves at such great risk? Well, if there's anything we've learned in the past few years, it's that no matter how dangerous or deadly a workplace gets, the working class will still be expected to put themselves at great risk for the good of the economy. I'm getting political. Fact 4, the Tugs can breed. This doesn't really impact my theory, but I just wanted to remind you that the boats definitely fuck. Damn it, people, open your eyes. This is a show about the hubris of man and the price that must be paid for meddling with the unstoppable force of the sea and the unknowable horrors that lie beneath its surface. Or maybe it's just a show about talking boats. It's probably just that, isn't it?
No, you're cooking, Tom.
Yeah. Fun trivia time. After Tugs was cancelled, co-creator David Mitton returned to Thomas and Friends.
Okay.
Whereas Robert DiCardona moved to Canada and soon found himself directing another show about talking tugboats? Hey, wait a minute. Chapter 6. Theodore Tugboat. Yes, if you're one of the Canadians that has been screaming at your screen this entire video that the tugboat show from my childhood looks an awful lot like the tugboat show from your childhood, please stop, you are so loud. While the world may not have been ready to get its tug on in 1989, just 4 years later, Canadian producer Andrew Cochran would work with Robert DiCardona to do it all over again. Okay. And while Tugs only ran for 13 episodes, Theodore Tugboat slapped a big old 0 on the end of that number, so it's safe to say it had a little more staying power. And it achieved this partly by playing it safe and relying on more tried and tested methods, such as having one narrator voice all the characters storybook style.
Good work, said Emily to the two Tugs.
You saved the day.
You're heroes, shouted Hank.
Also has a character called Faduck.
Faduck?
Yeah, Tugs looked better. Watching the models bounce around weightlessly with harsh studio lighting in Theodore really draws extra attention to the craft that went into Tugs, which used the same Clearwater periscope lens system that gave the models such a sense of scale and life in Thomas and Friends. Although in Theodore, the aesthetics are less grim and brutal, and the faces are less off-putting and harsh.
No garbage today.
Although on the other hand, they do also just end up all looking the same, so
yeah,
it kind of balances itself out, I guess. And that's all I have to say on Theodore Tugboat. Please do not make me make a video on it. Almost everything in that show has a face like it's fucking Banjo-Kazooie, and I am not—
So is Theodore Tugboat like the is it still considered the same universe as Tugs, and is Tugs is still in the same universe as Thomas and Friends? So if you think about, so are they all connected, or are they all separate universes and separate things? I'm gonna go with they're all continuously wanted. So like, is Theodore Tugboat like the successor to Tugs, or are they two separate shows entirely?
emotionally prepared to figure out the connotations of what that might mean. Chapter 7, Conclusion. So, overanalyzing the show has been fun, but let me try and give this video somewhat of a purpose and ask the question, why didn't Tugs ride the same wave as a show like Thomas and Friends? Why did it sink into obscurity? Yes, the financiers went under, causing the money to dry
Stop
up,
making
but why
boat
did the show
puns.
die
Stop
in the
hell.
water beyond that? Well, I think that's because, in my opinion, the show doesn't really work. At least not in its intended purpose of being for kids. Yes, it's tonally and aesthetically darker than its cousin, but I think the real issue is deeper than that. And it wasn't until I was watching the mini making-of documentary for Theodore Tugboat that I figured out what it is that's wrong with Tugs, when I heard writer Jeff Rosen say,
"These characters, for everybody involved, are children. The stories are about children. These Tugs are like kids to us."
See, the same is also true for Thomas and Friends, with the engines and their stories seemingly being allegories for things like the importance of listening to your parents, behaving, and all the other kind of stuff you'd expect to find in the kids show that would benefit a developing young mind. Stuff like, hey, you gotta eat your veggies and do your homework, or else your parents might brick you up into a fucking tunnel. Sorry, still a bit raw, you know.
Yeah.
Tugs, however, while it does have some kid-friendly messaging, is mostly about working-class adults worrying about their paychecks and struggling to secure work contracts. Before the episode, Munitions has a very intense line about respecting fire.
Always respect fire. If you don't, it will destroy you, your surroundings, and your friends.
Jesus, that was a bit deep. Okay.
It rambles about the importance of using common sense and not blindly following orders in the workplace. Now, I'm all for questioning authority, but that might be a slightly advanced concept for a show with an infant-friendly universal rating.
Now see tax exemption.
Tax exemption.
Hell, even the theme song, which does admittedly fuck, is a baffling choice for a kid's show. I can't imagine something that would get kids less hyped up to watch something than smooth jazz. Thomas and Friends, Theodore Tugboat, even the weird US port Salty's Lighthouse, all have an air of childlike fun and whimsy, and then you have fucking Tugs over here sounding like the freeze frame ending of your grandma's favorite romance movie.
Oh, I do love this movie.
Okay, boomer.
And while I don't think this would have necessarily contributed to its struggles, I do think it's pretty clear that Tugs was intended to be for an American audience. Not only is it set in America, but it's also rife with American values and imagery.
He's $100.
Even down to its more problematic elements. I mean, you have the stereotype of a lazy Mexican immigrant who's trying to sneak in illegally in a show for British children.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Gynecologist.
Right. Yeah, see? You've got archetypes.
Holy shit. What do you want to be when you grow up? Gynecologist? My man's got his priorities straight. Oh, man. I don't know. Is there a better job than working with pussy all day?
Hyper 1920s gangsters speaking with Cockney accents. A dynamite loving redneck from the West Country. And some sort of a southern ragtime Welshman. There's a leaked American dub of the pilot allegedly featuring Yakko Warner voice actor Rob Paulson that just sounds right, as if that's what the show was meant to be all along.
Yo, hold it! Sorry, sir.
All these things combined create a show that just doesn't feel synergized, like a kid's book that isn't suitable for children. And I would know, I made one. But it's still got charm, and it's definitely worth a gander if you ever find yourself watching CITV in 1989. Or you can just watch it all on YouTube. Or you can empty your bank account buying all the original VHSs. You can't have these ones though. No one can!
Jesus, Tom. I'm sure those are collectibles, my guy. Maybe. Like I want to destroy them. They're probably worth something. I would like hold on to them. Rent like a pawn shop or something. Like, yo, how much can I get for these at a pawn shop or something? I don't know. Or hold on to them. They're probably collectibles. I don't know.
It's over! Fun trivia time! In 2017, after 28 years, Tugs finally officially crossed over with Thomas and friends when the crane Big Mickey shows his face, quite literally, on the island of Sodor.
What?
Meaning he either faked his death in munitions, or, since he's definitely dead, it confirms my theory that Sodor is literally hell.
You've been standing there silent all these years, Big Mickey, and you've never said a single word!
I want to give a big thanks to Lockie, Leo, and Milan, my on-call Tugs and Thomas enthusiasts, for helping me with this video, and I want to blame you, the audience, for the fact that I made this to begin with. You know what you did. It was all your fault. You did this to me!
God damn it. If you guys want the content in the commentary, hit the like button. If you're new, stick around. Join me to subscribe and join System Mafia. Oh man. Fuck. Jesus Christ. You know, Tom, you need to do more of these videos. They're just like childhood shows, nightmare fuel, documentary things. Like, dude, they're fucking hilarious. Make sure you go check out Tomska's channel and his other channel, Tomska and Friends. I put both of them in the cards below. And make sure you want to check out this video without my commentary. But you got the link in the cards below. I'll put the link to the Tugs video in the scrub socks below. But yeah. I think that's everything. So Tugs later.
Go and build on myself so I can truly build. Hey.